Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Junkin 101 with Cassie, and I'm Cassie. So today I am going to flip through another one of my kits for you guys, and then we're going to start a journal with it. I don't know how far we're going to get in this video, and I'm not 100% sure exactly what I'm going to be doing, but so yeah, we're just gonna kind of craft by the seat of our pants today, kind of thing. So anyway, this is called A Good Day for a Ride. You can find it in my Etsy shop, Junkin 101 with Cassie. I am running a sale this weekend. Everything is 10% off. So with all that out of the way, this is the freebie page that goes along with it. If you're part of JJ with Joy, you've already seen this freebie page posted. Otherwise, if you purchase the kit, it will be included. On the backs of some of the pages, I have gone ahead and used my coffee dyed backgrounds to back these for items such as like the tag and the little note card and stuff. So here's some pockets and some banners. Here are the 3 tags that go with it and a little book plate. Again, on the back of that is coffee dyed paper. I used the same piece of coffee dyed paper throughout this kit just for ease of printing for myself, and I really like the way that that coffee dyed paper looks. So here's a couple of fussy cut labels and stuff and a couple of tags for you. Here are 3 words and a big envelope. Again, because of the envelope, I printed on the back side of that. Here are some clusters that can be made into tuck spots or that sort of thing. Now we're getting into the pages. So this is kind of like a background journaling page. On the backs of these, I printed my kit, Arin's Garden, so that is also in my shop. It is an eco-dyed background. Jennifer Wren Hardy made these pages, and she graciously shared them with me and told me I could use them. So here's another page in the kit. Again, all of my kits are 10 journaling pages and then 5 ephemera pages. So you're getting 15-page kits. Very pretty muted pinks and yellows and lots of greens in this kit. Here's a not so busy page. A page with some lines on it for writing. Here's another writing page. I created this page with it in mind that this would be a good center spread. And I created this one for writing. Same with this one, it has lines on it for writing. This one I created as another freebie page with the kit, so that will also be included. And then I just have an extra print of the eco-dyed in case I make something and want to back it. So that is the kit we will be using, but first we have to figure out what we're going to do with it. So I'm going to set that aside, and I have just this cereal box here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Maybe I can, wrong direction, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to, excuse the reach, take my scissors and cut this box down. So I'm just going to cut up the side here where the seam is, where the box comes together. Okay. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut all of the flaps off of here. And then I'm going to cut along this crease, and this crease. So we're gonna have basically 2 spines and 2 covers. We're only gonna need one of the spines. So this one that's been glued together where it overlaps, I'll probably discard. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause real quick and cut this so you don't have to watch me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see here, I've just cut it apart. My cuts are not straight right now. We'll go back and straighten everything up as we need to and cut things down to size. So I've got the 2 fronts here, and then I have a piece to make into the spine. And then these are the extras I have. Don't throw these away. You can recycle them, or you can use them to make tabs or extra tuck spots or something. You just cover them with paper. I'm going to go ahead and recycle mine because I don't seem to use them very often, but you can if you want to. So now that I have these cut out, I need to figure out how big my journal is going to be. So that's when I'm going to pull in my journal pages, set the ephemera aside, set this extra print aside that I have. So I'm going to take these and I'm just going to fold them all in half. These are printed on just regular 8.5 by 11 copy paper. I think I use like a 26 or a 28 pound. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold all of these. Some of them I'm going to fold this direction so that we have a little bit of variety on which way the pages are going. Okay. I'm also going to add in some coffee dyed pages, not printed ones, but actual hand dyed ones that I've done. Okay, so this one's going to be the center spread, so I want to fold it this direction. That way when it opens up, that's what you see in the middle of my book. And I'm going to set that aside so I know that that's my center spread. Oops. Okay, just about done. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got 13 pages here. So I think I'll add in 6 coffee dyed pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we'll get these folded real quick. I might make this into a 2-signature journal. I'm not sure yet. It depends how much more I decide to add to it. Because we can add book pages and things like that as well. We can also put envelopes into our spread. There's a pocket that I want to show you guys how to make that I want to put in there. Okay. So I've got all my main pages folded that I want to use. So these are 8.5 by 11 pages. So when you fold them in half, they're 5.5 by 8.5. So when I'm using the 5.5 by 8.5 or an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I like to make my journal covers 9 inches tall by 6 inches wide. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take my two covers here. I'm going to bring my cutter in, set this other stuff to the side, and we're going to cut these down. We're going to go, first of all, and straighten it up. Make sure we get ourselves a straight cut along the bottom here. Okay. So I'm now going to cut this at just a tad over 6. That way I can cut the rest off on the other side and make sure that that side's straight. Okay, so we're now going to flip it this way, put it at 6 inches. Okay. So now I have it 6 inches wide, so now we need it 9 inches tall. So that's going to be my cover. And as you can see, the pages fit in there with a little border around them. So that's one. Get rid of our scraps here. Now we're going to cut the second one the same way. We're going to make sure we're starting with a nice straight line on the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to go a tad over 6. We're going to flip this and cut it right at 6. And then we're going to put it this direction and cut it at 9. Okay, so for our spine, we're going to, again, make sure we cut the bottom. Make sure it's straight, and we know that we need it 9 inches tall, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 9 inches. I'm going to cut a tad off of this side to make it nice and straight, and then I think I'm going to do a 1.5 inch spine on this book. So now we have our spine. We'll get rid of our scraps here. Set our cutter aside. Okay, so now we have our front and our back and our spine. So now to put these together, I am going to go grab some tape. So I will be right back in just a moment. Okay, I am back. And I like to use this Easy Tear duct tape. It's like a paper tape and it's in a craft color. It's very, very sticky. You can use painter's tape for this. You could use washi tape if you wanted to, but if you were using washi tape, I would suggest to reinforce your washi tape with some glue. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take one of my covers and my spine. I'm going to line them up. Now remember to leave a gap, about 1/8 of an inch gap between your spine and your cover. So I'm just going to pull off some of this tape. And I'm going to take my scissors and cut it. I'm going to reline this up because I moved it. And I'm just going to place the tape down on top of it here. I'm putting more of the tape on the cover than I am the spine because I don't want to get too many layers of tape here in the middle and get it too thick because this tape is kind of hard to sew through. I'm just looking for my bone folder here. Okay. Flip this over and pull the tape down, making sure you pull it nice and tight and snug against the edge. We'll do the same thing on this side. And then we're going to get ourselves another piece. And we're just going to line it up here so that it's reinforced on both sides. Okay. Now we're going to take our other cover and we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to line it up, leaving 1/8 of an inch. Or about 1/8 of an inch. I'm sure it's not exact. Get us a piece of tape. And when you're doing this side, make sure you don't overlap that tape on the first side that we did. Because like I said, you don't want to get too many layers of the tape because it can build up and get thick. And if you cover it with like a thin paper or something, you'll be able to see the lines of the tape. So again, just folding these over, pulling them nice and snug against the edges. And then we'll get ourselves another piece of tape to finish off this side. Again, making sure you don't overlap the tape here and here. You can if you want to, if you're going to be using fabric or something like that, the lines aren't going to show from the tape. But you also have to keep in mind, are you going to do any sewing with your sewing machine on top of this? I'm not going to with this particular tape because this tape is very, very sticky and it'll gum up your needle. If you're using regular painter's tape, I've done fine with that in my sewing machine. So now that we have that, we're just going to go with our bone folder. We're going to train this tape to bend in between the spine and the cover. So I'm just going to go through a couple times. You don't want to press too hard and rip your tape. You could do the same thing on this side if you want. And then just kind of play with it and see which direction it's easiest for your book to fold. Now mine folds pretty easy both ways, so it doesn't matter which one is the inside or the outside. And that is the basis of making a cover out of a cereal box, or you could use a pasta box or whatever kind of box you want to use. So it's going to be a hard cover, but it is still going to be a little bit pliable. So yeah, that's just a really quick way. That's how I do it. And now, let's see, what do we want to do next? Next, I would cover this at this point if I didn't care. about how I was going to sew my signatures in. I think with this one, I want to do a hidden spine, or what's known as a floating spine. That way my stitches are inside and they're covered and you don't see them. So in order to do that, you need another piece of cardstock. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. My husband called. So anyway, I'm just have this cream colored cardstock. I don't know the weight on it or anything like that. So when you're doing a hidden spine, I'm going to make mine the same height as my journal. So my journal cover we cut at 9 inches tall, so I'm going to cut my cardstock at 9 inches as well. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got 9 inches. So now you want to figure out how wide you want this to be. Now, when you're doing a hidden spine or a floating spine, as it may be called, you want your cardstock to be as wide as your spine and then extra on each side. So I think my spine is 1.5 inches. So you know it has to be 1.5 inches. Plus I think I'm going to do 1.5 inches on either side. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4.5 inches. So we're going to cut this at 4.5. Okay, so there is our 9 by 4.5 piece of cardstock. I'm going to grab, oh, sorry about that, didn't mean to hit the camera. Going to grab my scoreboard, and so we talked this through. It was 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to score at 1.5. And then so a half over to 2, and then another inch would be at 3. So you're going to score it at 1.5 and then at 3. So now, as you can see, this is going to fit right in our spine. So I'll hold this up like this. So if you can see, that's how it's going to look in the book. So it's going to go right on our spine, and then it overlaps onto the sides. So we're not going to glue this in right now because we're going to put our signatures together, and then we're going to sew our signatures with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch into this, and then we will put this in and glue it down real nice, and then we will cover this. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to cover this in that piece of paper. That way when we glue, or not glue, I'm sorry, when we sew our 2 signatures into the spine, this is decorated and it's not just plain like this. So let's set our cover aside. I'm going to take and use this extra piece of Eco Dyed. And now we're getting glue out, so let me get my other little mat. Okay, so now this is just paper to cardstock. So, what kind of glue do I want to use? I think I'll just use some of this tacky glue, if it'll cooperate. I haven't used it in quite a while, so the tip may be clogged up here on us. Okay. I'm just going to put glue all over this. Now, when doing a full piece of paper over creases like this, it's touch and go for me. Sometimes, a lot of times, I get bubbles in my creases. I've been told to, you know, make sure there's plenty of glue along the creases and on either side of it. I've also been told to let it dry completely before you crease it. And I've also been told the opposite of that, to make sure it's still wet when you crease it. So, I don't know. So I'm just going to take this and set it down on top. Give it a good press. Run our bone folder across it. Add some glue escape. This is just a regular paper towel that I'm going around the edges to catch that glue. Clean it off the bone folder. And now I'm going to trim around this. Okay, sorry for the silence there. I get kind of quiet when I'm cutting. Okay, so we have this extra piece that we can set aside to use on maybe a tag or something that we make for the journal later on. So I'm going to go ahead, because it looks like this wants to crease pretty well. I'm just going to use my bone folder here and kind of train the paper to bend right there. Do the same thing on the other side. We're just kind of training that paper to bend. I'm going to fold it over, give it a nice good crease. So far it's not looking too bad. Okay, that don't look too bad at all. So right now it is still wet, so I'm going to set it aside, and then we're going to work on our signatures. Okay, so now comes the point when we want to decide what order we want our pages in. So I'm going to take these based on how they're folded. These are regular coffee dyed. We know we want this to be the center spread in one of our signatures. This is a writing page, so we're going to put it down here as a writing page. This also is a writing page. This could be used as a writing page, and so can this. That's a decorative page. Decorative. And this is kind of like a background page, writing page, but we'll just stick it there. Okay, so we have 4 writing pages, one of which, or 2 of which are folded this direction, and 2 of which that are folded this direction. So we'll just separate them up like so. Okay, so now we have 6 of these, so we'll do 3 in each signature. Okay, this is a center spread, so I'll put this in one, and then we need to find a center spread for the other signature. So let's look at the ones we already have folded this direction. That could be a pretty center spread. And so could this. I think I'm gonna go with this one as the center spread. So this one and this one, these are kind of plainer pages, so I'll do 1 in each. This is kind of a busy page, and so is this, so I'll do 1 in each. And then we'll do this one. I'm going to fold this one the opposite direction to make it match that one. And then we have 1 extra page that I'm just going to stick in here. And so far this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. And this one should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I'm gonna go find about 5 more pages for each signature. This one will have 6 in it, of course, because it's 9. That way I'm at a total of like 15 pages per signature. So let me go find some book pages and stuff, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I am back. So I have found the pages that I want to add in. So in this signature, we're going to add in a piece of tracing paper. I have this page here that folds open, and it's just got different flowers and stuff in it. We have a piece of book page, dictionary page, and then I have this old ledger page. So for this one, we only had 9 pages, so I went ahead and found a piece of coffee dyed ledger, tracing paper, another one of those flower pages. This one's a little rough on the edge. That's okay. The book page, dictionary page, and the old ledger again. So the next thing we want to do is we want to put these in order. So we know this is our center spread. Let's find what we want for the cover. And we'll put our coffee dyed pages in a pile. Find out what we want for our cover of the signature. I think I like this as the cover. So I'll do the cover, and then we'll put this in, and then a piece of coffee dye, and then that's our center. We'll do this page, and then we'll do this, and then hopefully I'm staying in frame for you guys. We'll do another coffee dyed page, and then we'll do the book page. We'll put this page in this direction. Then we'll do the flowers, or no. Then we'll do the tracing paper. And then we'll do the writing page. And then we'll do this page. And then we'll do the flowers. And we'll stick the ego dyed in here. And then we'll do the coffee dye. And then our center spread. Okay, so that's that signature. I'm going to come back and I'm going to fold these in because I don't want those to get cut off when I'm doing my trimming. I want those to stay intact. Okay, so there is signature 1. Now we're going to do the same process for signature 2. So we've got our center spread. That is not the center spread. We'll find the center spread, which is right there. Set all the coffee dye pages aside, set these pages aside and those pages. Okay, so we need to figure out what we want for cover number 2. So I'm looking at these pages. One of these might have to get folded the other direction. That's line paper. Okay, so it's either this one or this one. I'll just go with this one. Okay, so we'll start with this. And then the ledger paper. And I'm just going to go based off of this signature as well. So we did the ledger paper. Now we need a coffee dye. Okay, then we need another page of this. And then we did the dictionary page. Now you don't have to be this precise on your signatures to make them match up completely. I just like mine to be uniform, make them look like they flow together, that kind of thing. So then we have one of these. And of course it's not going to be exactly the same because there are only 9 pages in this signature. So, yeah. You know, like 9 of the regular pages. So we'll skip that one. So we'll put the flowers there. And then we'll put this there. Okay. So then we go with another coffee dye. And, well, I don't want lines against lines. So we'll do this. And then we have the center spread. So we'll stick this one here and then our center spread. So now I'll go back and fold these in like I did on the first one. Okay, and we'll do this, and there we go. We have our 2 signatures, signature 1 and signature 2. We have our cover. Those are going to fit in there nicely once we embellish and all that. It'll be a nice journal. And we have our insert. So we'll sew these into here when this is dry. And then it will go into the book like so, and then we'll cover this and then cover this, and you won't see any of the stitching. I think I'm also going to, in my centers, put maybe an envelope in here so you don't see the stitching at all. But I'm not 100% sure on that yet. I may or I may not do that. I probably will because it'll just be cute anyway. And who doesn't like an envelope in the middle? So now that we have our signatures the way that they're supposed to be, what you're going to want to do is take them, make sure everything is lined up, because as you build a signature, the spine area here, hopefully I'm in frame, gets thicker and thicker, so it pushes each page in just a fraction of a centimeter or whatever. So then you end up with something on the end that looks like this that's pushed out. And we don't want that. I like mine to be nice and flush. So let me grab a couple of tools and I'll show you a really easy way to fix that problem. Okay, so the easiest way to fix this is you take your paper or your whole signature, you make sure everything is down in the spine area nice and firmly. Line it up on your cutting mat so that it's straight. Then you take a metal ruler and you line it up with the edge of your cover, or you can line it up with a line on your mat as well. Then you take your rotary cutter, hold down your ruler nice and firm, and just go over it a few times until you can tell that it's not cutting your papers anymore. And then look at that. We have a nice flat page there. Nothing's sticking out. It's nice and flush with each other. And we'll do the same thing with our second signature. Again, making sure everything's down in there. Making sure everything's nice and tidy. Line your ruler up where you want it. And then hold it firm and cut your edges. Again, nice and tidy edge. Okay, let's see where we're at for time. 43. Okay. So, I think that's all for this video. We have covered quite a bit for our first video on this particular series of making this junk journal. So, we've made our floating or hidden spine, we've made our cover, and we have made both of our signatures. So when we come back next time, we'll work on some ephemera and stuff for the journal, because before you sew it together, you're going to want to do any sewing with your sewing machine in your journal. So if you want to sew around the edges of the page, or if you want to sew any pockets in or anything along that line, do it now before we come back for the next video, because in the next video we are going to be taking our signatures and stitching them to our spine and putting our spine in our book and then decorating the cover is what our next video is going to be. So, again, you can find this kit in my shop, Junkin 101 with Cassie, on Etsy. Everything is 10% off until Sunday at midnight. What's the date that day? May 15th at midnight. Everything will no longer be on sale. So go on over, grab your kit, get caught up to where we're at, and then in the next video, we will go ahead and sew our signatures into our journal. So again, be sure to do any sewing that you want to do before the next video. That way we can put our books together. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Until then, keep it crafty.